guys, we just got done with, a combined 6 hours and 17 minutes of Rebel Moon Director's Cut, R-rated, part 1 and 2, the Chalice, the something or the other.
Stupid Chalice.
And
stupid
Curse.
Blemish Giver.
Blemish Giver, the Scar Giver.
It's not right there. Scar.
You gave me the Scar Giver. Prepare to witness Zack Snyder's true vision. Not one that he wasn't allowed to show because Netflix gave him full reign. This is just a double dip, really. And we recorded a trailer reaction. I just forgot to put it up before I left. We said, wow, this looks incredibly different, you know. Is it going to make the film better? Well, after we wasted our time, I'm here to save you some of your time. Hilariously, no. It actually, in some parts, makes it worse. And in some part, I will be completely honest. We'll tell it like it is. And I think it does make some parts better.
Oh, for sure.
Objectively, in terms of, hey, here's a bloodless battle with space lasers shooting a laser going into a guy's head, does absolutely no damage in the original. And in this version, when a space laser goes into a guy's head, it takes a melon, just blows apart and chunks come off. The cabeza explodes. And objectively, I think that's better. And that's the way it should have been. Yeah. So in that sense, it does. Now, this does add several parts. So we're just going to cut to the chase. Rebel Moon sucks. It is an incredible waste of opportunity and time. I wanted it to be so good. I want a new sci-fi opera that can go alongside Star Wars and Star Trek. This is not it. Zack does not have the storytelling capabilities, the writing capabilities, the character building capabilities, the world building capabilities. The world building is slightly better here, only because it has to be, because we have 6 and a half hours of content. So it makes a little bit more cohesive sense in the world structure. But the fucking movies are still a complete mess. The structure off. Neither one of them really satisfying. Emotions are completely lacking. Yes. Zack is known for his slow-mo visuals and great fight scenes. And often in Rebel Moon, those didn't even work. Now, when you put the blood back in and you put the lasers and stuff and you ramp it up to 11, it does work a little bit better. But that's about the only thing that works. Upon rewatching these two, it made some things better and it made some things worse. And God damn it, Chalice of Blood and Curse of Forgiveness is what I was looking for. And I just think it's an incredible waste of time. 6.5 hours I wish I had back. Could have been doing something else. There's a beta we want to play right now, Delta Farce. I'd rather be doing that than recording this and editing this. But I wanted to go on this journey because Netflix thought it was necessary to give him a director's cut. So essentially now there's 4 movies up on Netflix. Hilariously, this does not even, the debut of these films does not even break the top 10. Now granted, it's 4 days later?
Yeah.
It's about 4 days later, but you would
still think it would be there.
You would think it would be there at least 10th. No, White Chicks is still in front. What is another movie that was in front? A bad movie. Tarot?
Tarot was on.
Tarot is like fucking 4th.
A bunch of old movies.
And it can't even crack top 10. So this does not have the magic of release the Snyder cut and all that hype that was built up. And frankly, all those HBO Max subscriptions that were gained out of that to see the director's cut. I would say that this is the exact opposite reception. A wet fart, a quiet, wet fart. I don't think anybody,
I went out and canceled my sister's subscription because I'm under hers. I'm like, it was so bad I canceled her subscription.
Yeah. So, this is not bringing the numbers. Now,
No.
do I think that, Netflix will give him, because even more so at the very end, I always thought that the movie kind of cut off. It says, oh my God, the princess might still be alive. Let's find her and fight for her. Find her and fight for her.
To find her and to fight?
Find her and fight for her. They say that literally 3 times, like right at the end.
To find her and to fight.
The writing is so fucking bad. Then it cuts off, and we're like, oh, we don't get to see that emperor. We made that comment last time, but now you do. And I'm pretty sure he saved that just for this. He tacked that on at the end, and you get this cool shot. He is now the emperor taking over the king position, and he's basically like, come at me, bro. And, he learns that Korra has won in that specific instance. Will we ever get to see the third part, the payoff, finding the princess and winning the day or whatever? And then he also sets up a little bit more with these sentient engines, these interdimensional beings that you see in the trailer and that he teases in the trailer. And we'll talk about it a little bit here, and then maybe they'll pay that off in a part 3. But because this couldn't even crack top 10, and now we have 5 pieces of Rebel Moon media. We got the 2 normal ones. We got the 2 director's cuts. And then there's like a 30-minute behind-the-scenes stuff, which I'm sure cost Netflix more money to produce and put up.
I've not seen it, don't want to.
And I just think it's a failure of a franchise. In fact, the Rebel Moon RPG, did you know that they were going to have that RPG, pen and paper? Never came out. In fact, they sued because they were suing to try to get it out because Netflix was like, I don't know, and I'll look it up here. And they just recently had a resolution over that. So it just shows you the colossal mess that it is. I would be frankly surprised if we see future Rebel Moons. And granted, I don't know if you know this, but we thought maybe 3 parts. Now, Zack and his wisdom is saying, yeah, it's 3 parts, but there's going to be 2 movies, 2 parts for each of the 3 segments. So he wants 6 films. I don't even think he's going to get 3. So
me neither.
That's my a take on these Rebel Moon director's cuts. Now I want to hear from you boys.
Jesus Christ, what a fucking waste of time. Director's cut is the slowest slow motion thing ever. We get more dumbass slow motions and dumb sex scenes that just feel out of place. And we do get some more. Yeah, we do get some more of Anthony Hopkins as James, but it makes him creepy. He's just in the backwoods stealing scarf and antlers. He's like, I fixed your plane. Tee hee hee. Takes off in the night.
He's a voyeur.
I'm like, what the
That's
fuck?
what we wanted. We thought, man, the cooler movie is
cool.
happening over there.
Yeah.
We never got to see it, and it's like, tee.
Yeah,
No.
he's just like doing random shit and
fucking
playing.
up, frankly, creating a plot hole. There is this dumbass subplot in the second film of these hunters constantly spying on the people, and the robot, and this happens at the very end of part 1, is right behind them seeing them. He lets them live this whole time, transmitting. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this did nothing to save the film. Yes, it was cool battle scenes, but I don't care because the characters' development still wasn't there. The arc wasn't there. I still don't care about the characters. It was fucking terrible. 2 times I fucking watched this film. I cannot remember for the life of me that girl's name. The one with the little mark. Twice. I've seen it twice. And
I still don't know her name. I don't know half the characters' names,
Yes.
Joe. There's Tarzan. I know Nemesis. Just
Turok.
I'm like, or wait, are you serious? Her
Turok,
name is Nemesis?
right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. Yeah,
And
Nemesis,
Titus.
Turok, Titus. I don't remember. This is all just forgettable. Yeah, in the beginning we had the cool scene, but it was just like that war and
So
everything.
at part 1, Joe's talking about
Part one.
a wholly newly added bit to add a little bit more context to Eris, the character. And then, do you remember who Eris is, Joe?
It took me a while. Like halfway through, I was like, "Holy shit, I forgot about
Wait
this
a minute.
guy." That's what I'm saying.
It's the fucking soldier.
It's fucking terrible at
And
writing
the
these
actor in the
characters.
flashback looks older than the actor in the current time, so that's why you couldn't really make.
Yeah,
we're
it
like,
doesn't
what?
make
That's
sense.
the
It's
soldier.
like, holy shit! Okay, yeah, it's that kid. Whatever. But that was cool. Like, yes, the blood and the action scenes, slow motion stuff. Is just getting fucking tired of it. But nothing is going to make me change. If anything, I honestly feel like deducting a point for watching this again. I want to deduct a point for watching this shit again.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's not good. It wasn't good the first time, and it's certainly not good the second time. We're getting more content, but it's more of the same, right? So I thought that the first movie was shit, and I thought the second movie was shit. And so just adding more scenes written and directed by the same guy, guess what? Most of the new stuff is shit too. They did add blood. Great. The violence feels good. I
Yes,
think that's kind of
that's
where
it.
his that's where he should live.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is he's stealing stories from people and stealing worlds from people, and it's just he doesn't understand them, and he just keeps throwing them on. And while initially you're like, oh, that is kind of cool, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, you didn't do anything with it. In fact, Netflix isn't going to make is going to be less likely to make another space opera type thing because that guy lit $400 million on fire, whatever he spent on this thing. Both of these are a waste of time. I've spent 10 hours in this universe, and it's not good. Seven Samurai is 3 hours. And we just watched something that's almost 6.5 hours, and Seven Samurai does everything better than this does. And the problem is he can't fucking help himself. He's like the stupid kid that goes to the Froyo place, and then they just keep adding stuff, and they don't ever stop adding things. And then it gets to the point where it's not even Froyo anymore. It's just a bunch of. It's like if you wanted candy, we could have gone to a candy store. And so he just keeps adding stuff because he wants to make this. He wants to be the foundation of his 6-movie bullshit. And so he keeps throwing things in and trying to flesh out things that don't matter here while ignoring all the things that we should be focusing on, the team of 7 people saving the villagers. So it's like, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He needed someone to constantly like hit him in the head with a newspaper. He's like, no more slow-mo. No more new plot points. No more planning for the future.
No.
You make this movie good, and then we will talk about other movies, and we can flesh things out when we get there. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of his. I've been a fan of his for a long time. I think his best work is stuff that he didn't write, and he just took established graphic novels, and he did cool things with them. Anytime he has the pencil or crayon or the fuck is in his hand he's writing these movies with, he does a bad job.
Yep.
And this is a bad movie. It wasted my fucking day, and it's going to waste your day. It will waste
Don't
your day if
fucking
you
watch
watch this for 6.5 hours.
Yeah, and well, that's pretty much it. We could talk a little bit more about what it specifically was added in a smaller spoiler section. Plenty of sex scenes. If you like Vagera, what's this chick's name?
Yes.
What's her name?
Scargiver.
No, what's her name?
It's just Scargiver.
The actress's name? Y'all don't know? Okay, well, anyways, Vargera, whatever her name is, if you want to see her naked, you get plenty of that. You get some titties, you get some boobs. Look, Sophia Butella, not okay, that's a different one. Okay, so if you're a horny ass guy and you want to see some fucking titties out of context that just comes off as more Zack Snyder kind of gross in the corner, like, yeah, this men are gonna love this. It's like, yeah, but that stuff needs context. And while I appreciate this huge, big budget thing, and you never see titties anymore, and and the main actress is like, no, I don't want to show my body, to everybody this and that. But there's something to be said for, the sexiness of nudity and prudeness, and Americans just like they can't see nipples and stuff. And I understand that, but if you're going to do a sex scene, if you're going to do nudity, it needs to be done well. Yeah. You need to be invested in the characters. The first nude scene comes out of nowhere, and it's almost gross. It just doesn't work for me. And then the characterization it's given afterwards, these two, they don't even fucking exist to each other anymore. They never make a mention. When she has sex with Den is the first sex scene, and you got titties flopping everywhere. You don't see her bottom parts, but you see fucking everything else: booty, ass cheeks, everything. And I'm sure some viewers will appreciate that, and some horny ones will be jerking it and stuff like that. But this is not sexy to me.
It's not. That happens in the next scene.
It's-
His dad just or her father figure just there. So how's your booty call? He likes you.
Yeah.
You guys just have sex? Yeah.
Yeah, but see,
what
it
the
made
fuck?
more sense in the uncut or
Yeah.
the less R version.
Yes, it
he's like
does.
he's a good man, and you thought, oh, maybe they will have sex in the
Yeah.
future, or something did happen, but it was left to your imagination. When you actually see it, it takes
like,
away from
this
it
is
somehow.
weird.
And then I thought that with the added sex scenes, that maybe the romance between Gunner, whatever
Gunner,
his
yeah.
name is, and Cora
Gunner, yeah.
would be expanded upon. We would see more kissing. We would see more chemistry, and that was not the case. In fact, I was like lost. Like, when did these two start to like each other? You had sex with Den. Wouldn't you want to go back to Den? You know, but
Wasn't
no,
that good.
they wasn't that good, I guess. And then this guy comes in. But I could tell you, Gunner was way better, because his sex scene, he goes down on her, and she's like, everything is so overacted. She's doing like one of these with her hands
Wacky.
while he's going
Yes.
down on her. I'm
Inflatable,
like, God damn, boy, that man knows how to lick or something. I was like, so while the sex scenes, you know, an element of me is like, oh, that's cool. I can appreciate that. Every man loves them titties and sex and stuff and nudity, but it has to be done with tastefulness. And oh, and by the way, the second sex scene goes on for like 5 minutes, and we're like seeing Gunner doing like, I don't need like those types of faces, you know. I'm like, are we watching softcore porn at this point rather than, you know, this loving moment between these two? So what I'm saying is, you kind of have to do it right. And
They added nothing.
I do want to see the return of more nudity in films like this, but not like this. And so when you put this out there, the people who are like, yeah, there's a reason why we don't do that anymore, you just justified it to them because you fucked it up. And then the one thing I will champion is the explosions, the blood, the added gore. That makes more sense because the originals lacked the visceralness of war, the
Impact
shock of that of just murdering each other. That is put back, and that does make the second film in particular, since the second film is basically one big battle, it makes the second film a little bit better to me. Granted, if you ignore the 30 minutes of slow-mo harvesting and the back-to-back vignettes of everybody's backstory that loses all meaning and all
I
context.
thought that was going to get fixed.
I did
Right.
too.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the
Both
scene that we get
scenes.
fleshed out.
First
Nope.
one,
Yeah,
when
I
they
thought
get
there were going to
captured,
be
and then
added
the
bits
table.
to each, but no,
Nothing.
it's pretty much plays exactly the same. And I thought to myself, I'm like, if you took one of those vignettes and you made it a movie, that would be more effective than what we've seen here. Instead, they're little 3 to 5 minute bits that are truncated and put right next to each other, loses all of its momentum, context, and effectiveness. So what you have here is a fucking mess. So
Yes.
let's go ahead, and before we jump into what additional scenes have been added, and I can tell you in graphic detail, the titties and the nipples and the explosions of the heads and everything that you want, including the new... There's another good part. So in addition to the blood and gore, the other good part is I do like the Ru Kali, which are these interdimensional beings that have been enslaved. Some people were pointing out, wait a minute, what is happening here? Are people shoveling coal into... Why do they need grain? And did I just see a creature as the engine? And I always thought it was like a statue. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, this is just architecture.
Yeah.
No, my fucking eyes open. She's constantly crying. And apparently these beings have this, ability to transport interdimensionally into the galaxy. So instead of the first film showing up and starting in the most awkward way possible with a space vagina opening up, instead we get, that intro scene giving context to Eris. And later on, there is still a space vagina. Don't worry about that in case you want it. But that's how they travel. And so that added bit, and what she says, and when she speaks, super awkward. I was knocked out of it. but it does plant the seed for some potential coolness in the future. We'll talk
That's
about
not
it
going to happen.
in spoilers.
I
don't think it's going to happen.
Out. Like,
You-
it's fucking 10 hours in, and
Right.
then you introduce this character or this new being.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fucking.
So let's go ahead and give the final verdicts. The boys remember what ratings we gave.
Yeah,
If you want
for the
to
first-
tell us, the ratings again, Joe.
First one I gave a 3. The second, part 2, I gave a 2.
Okay, so tell us your new scores.
For both of these combined?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not combined. I want individually.
Individual?
Yeah. Can you do that?
3.
I'm going to do individual. You can do whatever.
I would say just 3-3. Maybe it's not going to change my first one for part 1 and part 2. Yeah, because it was a cooler battle scenes
Right.
and stuff like that. I gave that one a 2.
Yeah.
So I added a point
See,
for the violence. But again, none of these characters are likable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not memorable. The story's fucking all over the place. It's just stupid. And a lot of the stuff that we did get just comes out of nowhere. It just makes things worse sometimes.
Yeah.
The best parts were the action shots. But other than that, nothing improved.
Yeah. Let me jump in here before Alex's rating is we went and looked it up. My first one, I gave a 4. Man, I was generous. I think if I remember right, I was saying, the Warhammer 40,000 stuff.
Yeah, you were
and
saying
that and
'cause you
that.
like
It was
that.
the first time I watched it. Upon second watching, all that stuff had worn off. And so I gave the first film a 4. Then I gave the second film a 3. You could tell we were fucking checked out by then. But now it's a 3 and a 4. That's right. The first film got worse, and the second film got slightly better. So my first ratings were a 4 and a 3, and now it's a 3 and a 4. Congratulations! You've accomplished nothing. And that's fucking perfect. That is a perfect fact of this ridiculous exercise and experiment of his stupid director's cuts that add no context, no art, no morals, no tension and story and investment. None of that shit has been added. It's just moved around. Part 1 would have been slightly tiny bit better, right? But none of the new additional scenes were integrated well. If anything, it just ends up making it longer. So I have some that's shit and it's fucking longer. So that's why, and that's why it goes from a 4 to a 3. And part 2 is easier to watch upon second watching than the first part. Because part 2 is so hilarious. You got, other than the wheat, slow-mo, and the stupid vignette backstories, you get one big battle. And that battle is given more battle. Not more battle. There's actually not very many additional scenes.
Just more impact.
But more impact. Yeah. So, and then what makes that second part better for me, and then you add the Kali bits, the interdimensional beings chick. But that's it. Those are my ratings, and now let's get from Alex.
I don't think that the first one's any better at all. So I think that the bulk of the new stuff that we get is the new world, that they're trying to flesh out this character Ares. And I don't know if you know this, I don't give a fuck about that guy. He is not in the top 10 best characters in this movie.
I didn't even know who it was for a while. I thought it was Tarzan for a while, and I was like, wait, didn't he already have a backstory?
He has a cool world, and it's like, so Ares' dad is a badass, and they're trying to set up this like emotional thing. But the problem is, it's filmed by, in my opinion, a fucking idiot, because he has this one dude with, and he, like, all of these trained space Nazi soldiers are losing to this one fucking dude, like Ares' dad. In like
with one dude with, to be fair, Joe, a space monkey.
I do love the space monkey, but what did the space monkey do? Because the space monkey goes and blows himself up, and then they just walk forward anyway. So
that was fucked up.
This asshole had that pet kill himself for no gain, for no reason whatsoever.
That's, again, another microcosm of this whole experiment.
It's like nothing mattered. And so it's like all of the new things that we get in the first one didn't make the story better because all we did was flesh out a character I didn't give a fuck about that ultimately maybe matters in movie 6. I don't care about movie 6 when I'm watching movie 1. You need to make sure that I like the characters that are here. So we got nothing fleshed out in the main characters. So Movie 1 didn't get any better at all. I don't think it's as bad as a 2, so I'm not taking away any points. What happened was the new stuff that we got from movie 1 was the base is shit. We got more shit, about the same composition of quality as movie 1. I'm keeping movie 1 a 3, like I gave it the first time. I agree with both of you guys that movie 2 did get better. The fight scenes are significantly more believable. There's actually impact. The problem is, I think that Zack fucking moron Snyder purposely pulled that shit out in PG-13 version. I think on Netflix, he could have gotten... I've watched way more violent shit on Netflix than what we saw in that. So I don't know, if his plan was from the beginning... is he
pretending the Netflix was like, no, we want a PG-13 version?
Your power plug. Just so I want it to turn off. Okay.
I'm okay.
Just don't want it to be that he purposely pulled some stuff out to give his version more impact.
Yeah.
But it did feel better the entire way through. The characters are still horrible.
Yes.
Their motivations are weird. We don't know a couple of their names, and it's just it's bad. This is a bad fucking movie. So actually,
the second part,
I'm gonna give it a 3. I gave it a 2 originally, so I think it's gonna go up a little bit. I do still think it's a giant waste of time. It's fortunately under 3 hours because the first one made it to like 3.5. It's too long. There's 30 minutes of harvesting the wheat, and then we thresh the wheat, and then we separate the wheat from the chaff, and then we move the wheat to the mill, and the mill turns it into flour, and then you know what we do with the flour? We put it into the storage room. But no. The ultimate plan was take the wheat from the storage room and line the buildings with it, even though we knew the entire time that was going to be the plan.
Yeah.
It was wasting our fucking time. It is a bad goddamn movie, and so it deserves a 3.
Monday, I'm going to watch the whole thing.
I thought that Nemesis would be given a little bit something better because she's the one that gets fucked in the end and dies, and everybody else gets to live except for Nemesis, right? She's the only of the 7 samurais that die, and she dies to like 3 soldiers in the original cut, and so I thought they were going to give her more. They don't give her more. It's just the same thing, so she still gets messed up. So that's our ratings. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that RPG because I'm just now fascinated in these 5 pieces of media, now 6. The 6th is the RPG that was supposed to happen. So the Tabletop studio that developed the now canceled RPG has amicably settled its lawsuit with Netflix, so they finally got that. Evil Genius Games found itself at odds with the streaming giant Netflix over this fucking Rebel Moon RPG. Netflix said, you guys breached the confidentiality agreement at the Gamma Awards in 2023 when they were showing off the game. So they had the arts and some assets, and they were showing it off. But they had Netflix representatives with them at the booth. They were both showing it off, right? And so they thought they could share images and things. And Netflix pulls a fucking corporate-ass dick move once that show is over and they learn what happened at the show. And you guys breached the contract. They're like, what are you talking about? We didn't breach the contract. We're at the show. We're showing the thing off to get people to buy the thing. And so... but now owner Todd Scott released a joint statement with Netflix on January 24th, claiming both parties have now buried the litigious hatchet and the tabletop maker, which reach out to retailers about issuing pre-order refunds within the next 7 to 10 days. The game is not happening. The parties that are pleased that they were able to amicably resolve the dispute. Netflix thanks Evil Genius for their hard work and professionalism, the statement reads. We will not be releasing a Rebel Moon game, but stay tuned for more amazing cinematic adventures and an upcoming sci-fi project. And thank you for your amazing support. That's what Netflix says. So what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean, an upcoming sci-fi project? Are you referring to part 3? Are you referring to some completely different sci-fi project, maybe Atlas at the time, because this was in January? And what do you mean more amazing cinema? It's like they're just washing their hands it sounds like, of Rebel Moon. And so that's what I think what happened. But basically what they said is that Evil Genius Games said that they developed this massive world Bible in 2023 and that supplied all the missing pieces and created a cohesive backstory for the entire Rebel Moon franchise. And so they took that and the 430-page player's guide, 337-page game master's guide to the tabletop trade show alongside representatives from Netflix and showed artworks to retailers and distributors. Netflix claimed this action breached confidentiality and Netflix trust, and they attempted to seize all their assets so that they could sell the game. They could use the Bible in the future for Rebel Moon. Evil Genius was like, what the fuck? No, we're suing you. So that's why they started suing them and claiming, and then they said later, they claimed Netflix said, all right, tell you what, we'll give you $50,000, a 50,000 check to quote unquote, to basically go away, forgive Netflix for its pretextual hijacking of the project and just hand over the game to them. And they said, but that's the end of the story. And maybe it was for the best because the fucking films suck ass. And I don't know if that thing was going to sell at all to anyone.
Do you want a Battlefield Earth tabletop? It's like, I fucking
No.
don't.
Actually,
for $10.
you know, for something, you know,
$10? No.
actually for like a joke thing, maybe.
We-
Right?
How
much
If
would
you're
you
a
pay for
D&D
it?
thing and we make one session.
We actually, there was a time where you and I sat down with someone else and we were talking about getting the Battlefield Earth. Like,
and it
we,
was incredibly cheap.
We fleshed like the basis for a game out. And we're like, look, there's 7 people who will buy it, and so
Yeah, so the license
I
for
have
that,
that.
I know what the number is. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to
No,
say,
no.
but it is incredibly cheap. So you can see here.
you give me
now,
$50,000, Netflix, I will go away.
but they amicably resolved the issue, and I guarantee you Netflix had to pay them more than $50,000 in order to so it just, and now that's dead and gone. And I'm wondering if the Rebel Moon franchise is dead and gone.
I hope so. Because this is
You know
so
what,
bad.
Joe? After all of this, you say I hope so. I actually kind of want to see a part 3. And then that's it. I don't want to see
It's not
part
even
4, 5, 6.
top 10.
I don't want to. I don't want none of that.
It's not even
But I
top
do want to see the
10.
resolution. I want to see the stupid princess thing and the robot, like the robots, the sentient, all the cooler shit is in the back, fighting the final battle, and the robots and the fucking goddesses. That's what I wanted to see. So I do
So part
want to
1 and
see,
2 are just
and it's going to be a
setups
glorious
for 3.
disaster. And that's what I'm saying. So my ratings went from
God.
3 to 4, and then maybe, you know, there's like a 10% chance that it can go up to a 5 with part 3, like the final one. So that's
I don't
that.
want to follow these characters that nobody likes on another adventure.
It's gonna make our subscriptions of Netflix keep going up. Anytime they make these things, they're like, shit, we gotta recoup the money for these things.
Well, I'm just like, this is so fucking silly. We've invested so much into it. I just need to see that third part. That's just my. What do you guys think? Do you want to see a part 3 or do you want it to end immediately? Because subscription prices, they're gonna go up anyway, regardless of whether they make a Rebel Moon or not. All right, so let's jump in real quick to some of the additional scenes we can talk about. Mainly most of the footage pertains to Jimmy, adding a few of those. What?
Being creepy.
Yeah,
Being creepy.
He's like frolicking in the forest, or not in the forest, in the
he's in the
fields,
forest.
and then takes this. How he gets his stuff.
he just
basically.
steals scarecrow clothes, and
In
it's
the
weird.
antlers, and he's playing with the fireflies, and he fixes their plane. That's
I will
about
say,
it.
opening sequence is a better way to open
Yes.
it. Originally, Space Vagina. Here, it's a battle, and the guy's fighting. But it's like just it's a perfect stupid, you know, nothing. It's a nothing burger. And the little CGI space monkey sacrificing its life again for nothing. Like none of this. I don't know. It's so weird. Okay, and then let's see. The next one after that, the dude kills like 10 guys but doesn't get shot because nobody fires guns in this world.
Don't.
They still don't fire guns. And when Titus is doing battle on the bridge, it's still just as stupid because there's 10 fucking soldiers there and none of them shoot him.
Well, when they're trying to rescue Sam in the barn, the dude who has a gun pointed on Scar Together the entire time, and he has a line of sight. He's not worried about his dudes. She's just standing there, and he doesn't shoot her one time.
Yeah.
We used to say Zack Snyder was good with combat and fight scenes. These are bad.
Yeah, this is really weird. And in that opening scene, Zack lets you know right away, I'm horny and I want some sex. So he rips off the clothes of some women. Don't forget, the priests get a lot more to do. Now, I like the priest's design. I like the priests doing more. The priests show up with this tooth book, and every leader that they kill, they add a tooth to this princess, like... you know, and it's a bastardization of her memory because she wouldn't want that shit to happen. But the
everything in the background is amazing. Like I want to see that stuff, the priest,
Space
the
Rome.
architect, and everything else.
Yeah.
But the main focus fucking sucks.
Apparently we needed a scene of fully nude women with her tits and her bush hanging out, and then she gets branded. Then another woman shows up and she gets her clothes ripped off, and she's a little bit bigger woman. Don't matter if you're a hot woman or an ugly woman, a big woman, a small woman, your clothes are getting ripped off, and then she gets branded too. Her titties are hanging out. And Atticus Noble even finds this a bit much. If you look at his face, his expression is like, but that characterization doesn't make sense, or maybe like I don't understand it. Maybe he thought that was crossing the line.
Did you like his sex scene?
But we do get an added sex scene with tentacles. He got basically more rubbing and undulating, and then he
got the guacamole.
He gets a reverse blowjob, I guess.
That was fucking terrible.
He is forced to give the tentacles a blowjob.
I wasn't forced. I think he's into it.
Okay, he's into it, yeah. So, anyways, the motherfucker lets the monkey out of the cage, and he tells it that they want to hurt her. And then he lets the monkey go, and he goes, I wish it was me, just to make it a little better that he has to sacrifice himself. It's like, you're sacrificing him. He could have survived this whole thing if he left and would have been back to the jungle while the humans are dead. Fuck y'all. But no, you blow up this little Pokemon for no reason. Thanks, Zack. Titties branding Pokemon suicide. Wow. I think I just got claimed I think I just got flagged by YouTube for that series of a sentence. But anyways, they add all this whole thing where it's like he offers you something, you agree to it. In this case, he says, beat your father to death, bash his head in with the femur of the halamalo, whatever. And he does it, but then he doesn't do what he said he was going to do. I'm going to leave your mother's alive and your sister's alive. He shoots them in the head.
You have no honor.
And you have no honor, exactly. And so that's a reoccurring thing throughout the film, which eventually does give a bit more context in part 2 when Korra's like, okay, I'll fucking do. He's like, just give me the grain and I'll leave the people alone. And she goes, okay. And we're like, that's stupid. Why the fuck are you doing that? And we were yelling at her. And luckily Gunner's like, no, I know this motherfucker. He just like does this all the time. I don't know how Gunner knows that, but whatever. And he's like, no, he's lying to you. And in fact, there's a scene where later on she's like, why'd you do that? And he's on the horse and he gets her on the horse and they ride off to start the battle. It's changed from the original. He's like, she gets on the horse. He's like, we need you. You're the only one that can help us in the original. In this one, it's like, I did it because he was lying to you. And
you know he would have said anything to have you surrender without the fight, but his words are worthless. We won't let you sacrifice yourself to a lie.
they add that context.
Yeah, they show a bunch of times. I just think
so that does make it slightly better.
I don't think he couldn't help himself because in that scene at the beginning where he lies to them, they use the line from Princess Bride, and they have Wesley from The Princess Bride is the king in this, where it's like, our lives don't become, we're men of action.
They did that on purpose.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, cool, Zach. It's another movie franchise that I love that you're stealing from.
Oh, I found it. Femur of the sacred Lochna. Bash your father's head. The Lochna. Well, thank you for that clarification. Anyways, he picks up the brain matter. And apparently he can see or feel his memories.
You can feel your memories.
At first I thought that he was just bullshitting, because that's like really creepy to just lie and talk about this. But no, he goes into a little too much detail that he wouldn't fucking know. And I'm like, okay, and then this is never explained again. So he has superpowers, but the dumbest superpowers. Super strength, super sexy tentacle time, pleasure time, and I don't know, memory, brain matter powers. Dumb.
He's like,
but then the Rebel Moon credit smash, and honestly, it's a good setup. I like the shots of the logos. That's better.
the logos are good.
Hey, You see, but do you see? It's like, what the fuck was this for? So instead of the logo appearing over just a planet, it's like, one is like, or shit going on in the background while the logo is showing. Yeah, it's better, but what's the fucking point? All right. The Anthony Hopkins narration is gone, and honestly, his voice is awesome, so you kind of fucked that up. Space Vagina at the beginning is gone. But it pretty much plays out the same way. Cora finds a big rock, starts smelling her manure and all the dirt and stuff.
Then they go to the party. And then...
But then the very next added scene with literally no context is Cora looking at him like she gonna fuck him, and then she fucks him. And they really get up on in there. They're alone. He takes her panties off. She mounts him. He takes her bra off, or he can't do it because he's an idiot. And then so she does it. And then she rides him, and you're seeing, the side. She's completely naked, and she's got scars. And like I was saying, you don't see this anymore in movies, And I guess it's nice if you're horny, but it doesn't work here.
There's so much porn on the internet.
It feels awkward. Yeah, just go watch. It's all free, unless you're in Texas, and then our legislature says you can't watch none of that, which is getting out of control from these people.
VPN.
There you go. No, it's. Well, yeah, you can use it. Anyway, so but it just feels awkward to me with all this Zack Snyder context that he's in the background.
It does. It just feels creepy, and
Yes.
it feels like as someone who once was a teenage boy, that's exactly how I would have filmed. It's like, let's throw in a sex scene, and then it's like,
He never grew up.
and then it's like, so yeah.
And it's like, maybe something, 14-year-old, 13, 15, yeah. But here, you need more context.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I don't like seeing it, because I do like seeing it, but I just need it to be done well.
Yeah, 'cause after
and
that-
set that up. It needs to be a payoff for, this thing going on. But women can have casual sex. I get it. But when you're lingering on it, when you're doing this, and when it happens out of nowhere, there's no attachment to what you're seeing.
Worse than that, I actually found the scene that came before this the worst, where I can't even tell you what the thing is because we'll get claimed.
Yeah.
The guy, the chief of the village gets up and he stands in front of everyone.
Yes.
And he's like, in order to make the seeds grow, and he just yells, we need to
Planting
F
the
each,
seed,
we need to F each other, F all night, and I'm going to F you, and you F him, and F, and whatever, and he's speaking like he's a 14-year-old kid, because that's how we used to talk like that, where every other word was a curse word. It's like, who the fuck wrote this?
Yeah, so now the femur, when he bashes that guy's head in, has a little bit more context because he uses this femur a lot from the Lorna or whatever. So, and he takes chunks out of. So throughout the rest of the film, it plays out pretty much the same. But you're taking chunks out of people's heads. Ladies are getting their arms cut off. She gets slashed across the shoulder. When can I expect my harvest? The priests have a new scene where they chant and they pull the teeth of that guy since he's a leader. Adds it to the book. Plays out the same, and and the new slow-mo save scene where she's about to get, and then Cora shows up to save her. It has some cut limbs and some additional blood, and now when she fires, heads explode,
Cool
which is
effect.
good.
I like that.
Chunks of heads missing.
Yeah.
But it's mostly the same.
Yeah, and then there's a couple lines of quick dialogue that you mentioned. They go to the bar in the dirty old town, and there's a guy like, I'm gonna, you, and
again and again,
and it's like, what is this?
What is Zack is super horny. But his horniness is in a really weird way. And I want to remind you yet again that this is the guy that wanted Batman
To get
and what?
All of his movies have a reference to it.
Yeah, and he wanted something like either Lois to get by Batman and create some kind of love triangle with Superman. Like, this is some weird ass shit, Zach. And I'm glad that shit is over with.
I'm glad that Tarantino is only into feet, because then we gotta.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
In that bar scene, by the way, there is a new blue lady. There's a glowing blue lady that she was not in the original. And then when they leave the bar, just a random female sexy robot comes out, like an atomic heart robot.
Don't you love sexy
It's
robots?
just it's for horniness, but there's no. But why? It's cool, and I was like, yes, this horny, sexy robot will follow them, attempt to assassinate them or something. Nope, you never see it again. And for some reason, it's used as the image to promote the director's cut. So I was expecting that thing to have a greater role.
Yeah,
it's
I was
not
like, oh,
there.
that's new.
Zach
oh,
wanted
we'll just
to
drop it. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, can you build me this robot? It's like, sure, Zach. What do you want for it? Oh, we'll be in a scene. Can you load it in my truck?
Yeah, it's like, but wait a minute. How long? Wait, you just showed this for 3 6. Wait a minute. Did I build this for you at your house? You son of a bitch.
Gross.
No, it's a CGI effect. But anyways, we cut to the robot making a speech about what he's done. He feels he's chosen by the girl as a vessel of righteousness. Anthony Hopkins is waxing poetic throughout the whole thing, going tee and doing things in the background. It's very short. It makes no sense that it wasn't included because it could, because all of these are so short they could have fucking included it. But whatever. That's it. And then the friendly soldier gets a few more additional scenes with the girl to give him context that he is joining that, and that he's a part of them now in the seasons. And they pull out the ship. So, because we're like, where the fuck did this ship come from? Was that Cora's ship? Like what?
How is it
no,
working?
Apparently, and we still don't know because he said it's been here for 2 seasons. How? Why? What? But no, it gives more context. But it still lacks all the context. No, anyways. Then we get the tentacle scene, and I think he does additional smoking through the body that they didn't want to show, because apparently you can't do drugs.
I didn't see him exhale. I don't remember seeing him
Yeah,
exhale,
I
but he
remember.
did plug it in the first time.
He plugged it in,
but we didn't know what it
here
did.
we actually see that you plug in here, and he can just exhale there. It's kind of cool
That's
looking.
not how my hookahs work.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Spider Lady, same scene. The fucking stupid slow-mo jumping on the fucking eagle thing. Same
I thought it was
shit.
going to get fleshed out. And
Me too.
I was like, oh, finally we're going
This
to
is
get...
the parts that we thought were going to be added to, and the parts we're added to are completely opposite. It's hilarious.
Instead, Ares gets more backstory and more fleshing out than any other character save Cora in part 1.
Now, there is an extra scene with the king and her as a soldier where he's giving more context to what her general is doing, and she's tied to the general. Eventually, he gets out of line, and he makes him a senator. And he's really, really good at being a
That makes
senator.
sense.
And I think that's in part 2, but here we're adding more.
You're real evil. I don't like it. Get out of here. Be senator.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And there's more political power, and he deserves to get stabbed because...
He knows what he's doing.
He set up his own death.
Your punishment? Go be a senator.
And everybody will respect you over me, and that's what happens. So there is an
What?
extra Colosseum scene for Titus where they're dragging dismembered bodies. It's real gross, and then he's
The
ripping people
Minotaur.
in half. Yeah. But, again... pointless, because they said, where's the general, to this random guy. They think this guy's a general because he's huge, he's got muscles. The guy turns around, he's like, general isn't here, he's over there. And they're like, okay. And then they go over there. It's like, this is pointless.
The first one we saw, with they said, oh, he doesn't want visitors. He has heads on spikes, right? I was like, okay, we're going to see that, right? No.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
I was expecting him to
Yes.
fight in the Colosseum, and when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, all right, he's going to fight that thing. Nope.
No.
He's
Waste my
whatever.
goddamn time.
He just fights the person giving him a bath, constantly like, cowards!
And then,
cowards!
and then she offers him revenge when previously the Nemesis scene was like, revenge is bad, let's not do revenge. And then the next scene, let's do revenge. It's, again, none of the problems were fixed, just added to.
No.
I'm going to skip ahead here because this shit isn't worth it.
No.
He has, okay, and then when the priests use the being to make a vagina jump, and it cries in pain, and you can see the galaxy in its eyes, and then it has this tear, and the tear drops, and it does that. There's hunters that have been added to the end that are spying on them, and then there's a port in the back of Noble's head where they go to it. Once he gets his ass kicked, all the scenes are the same. The betrayal scene is the same. Everybody gets wrapped up in those spider bots.
Exposition.
And then,
The guy is this.
Yeah, this, same. And
The stupid jump where he misses, he gets shot, but he stabs him.
It was
A little bit
still
more blood.
dumb the second time.
And yeah, it was other than the added robot context, really no reason.
3.5 hours long.
It really, yes. And it added nothing.
Half of the movie, like half of this movie is 3.5 hours long. Like the part 1 is longer than Seven Samurai.
But the idea of these Kalis, these interdimensional beings, these 100-foot tall goddesses enslaved to run these ships sounds so cool. The way I said that sounds so cool. And it's there in the film, but that's where it needed to be expanded on. We needed to get that story.
Yeah, I just chalk it up that he's stealing whales from Star Wars, space whales from Star Wars. And it's like
You mean Star Trek? Space whales from Star Trek.
No, Star Wars. The ones that can do hyperspace.
Oh, they both have space whales, don't they?
Yeah. And so it's like that's what I think that they're doing, and so he's just stealing from another universe, and that's why the scenes don't make sense. We're like, oh, revenge is bad, revenge is good, because the thing that he borrowed, the world he borrowed from, they said revenge is bad, and this other book that someone read to him, because I don't think he can read, they said it's good or bad. It's like, come on.
Oof.
Yeah. So that's that. We're moving on. I don't want this video to be too long, even though we're going to hit an hour. Part 2, we get an opening, and I guess I didn't bother to compare the two shots, but initially it looked like coal, but now there's added bones and shit, so now it's organic matter. She cries again. The priests, I love them. They look cool. They're very Inquisition, 40K, but they're called the Rue Kali. The Rue Kali, that ungrateful bitch. And she used her power. They forced her to use her powers to heal, give a little bit more context to how he, maybe gets superpowers and how he maybe gets healed. And then the title screen, Rebel Moon, is cooler because he's like, coming back to life, and the title screen is up on top of that. The added shit here is those hunters spying on. There's like fucking 5 hunter scenes of spying on him. They go, make the report. And there's, I will send the transmission. The next scene, make the report. I will send the transmission. Send the fucking transmission.
And everything's right there. It's like the transport. Just talk to him right there. It's like, I'll send it. It's like, do it now.
Do it now.
It's right there.
And then at the end of the
And
first film, the
Jimmy's
robot is behind him. And then for all these scenes, he's not there. He's just letting them fucking spy. So Jimmy is fucking up.
And I asked you guys, it's like, why doesn't Jimmy just kill him?
I
It's
gave
like,
you the answer.
But then the next scene.
Because the script doesn't have him doing it yet.
Yeah.
But it was fucking nuts. Like, why doesn't he just kill him? And then, like, 5 minutes later, he kills
He
him. It's
just
like,
kills
why
him.
did he
Yeah.
waste his time?
And then
You
almost
wasted
as
money.
quick,
My time.
almost as quickly as the sex scene in the first part happens, we get another sex scene here, the new sex scene, and again, it feels like it comes out of nowhere. They start kissing.
Her
This
or the
time
scene?
it's Gunner. Yeah, and she's flailing her arms in bed as he licks her down there, and I guess he's just so good.
And we
that
just
she's
forget
like,
about the other guy.
Yeah.
The previous guy
There's
that's still
not-
there,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I think it's implied that she doesn't like him because he's always trying to kiss on her in her scene, and she's like pushing his head away, and she's like, "Look, man, this isn't a kissing type thing."
But I
And so-
thought, like, once she would return, be like, oh, you return, because it shows some concern, because he still likes her. But
Yeah,
then...
but
nothing
while they're
good
having
about-
sex,
feelings.
That's
it's so
fucking
overacted. Then she turns around, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And booty time. What's happening here? But I guess he just takes her
Yo,
from behind,
Rusty
a little
Trimble.
bit of doggy style, and it's like 5 minute sex scene. And Zack got to make sure every curve was right, every touch was correct, and every flailing of her arms as she's going, this,
Zach's like, "Have you ever been electrocuted? Can you act like that, please?"
Yeah, and then there's a flashback, and the general gets gets increased, power increased to
What?
senator.
This doesn't make sense.
Right. There's more context for sure how he gained power. It's like, okay, now this makes sense but it makes no sense the original decision
I don't like
to
what
give
you're
him
doing. I'm punishing you.
No, he's like, you're getting too ambitious. You're doing all these things behind my back. Stop doing the things behind my back. Now I'm going to give you more power so you can do all the things in
But
front
sir,
of my
do
back.
you not want to throw him in jail? No. He's a dangerous
You
man.
have to kill him. He's like, kiss my hand, and then he kisses his hand. So that's it. Then even the king has to note his power and influence, because when he gives the rousing Hitler speech, everybody stands and claps, and the king can't be seen just like staying sitting. So he's like fucking forced to rise. And that in that moment, I'm like, oh man, there's like one good point being made here. So Zach eventually can make a good point without spelling it out. But it's so rare for that to happen. But I like that little bit. But it makes no sense. It doesn't. So then he plans to pass the kingdom to his daughter. And then he says the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm going to pass the kingdom to my daughter. I'm going to execute the generals. Well, the reason why it's stupid is because he's lying to her, obviously. Yeah. And so she's just so stupid to believe this all without question, I guess, because she was a little kid. She's been brainwashed. He allowed her to love the soldier, even though they said previously in the other movie that she had no love. That inconsistency is still there. And even though she says later on, I grew to love him. Did you even write this? Do you remember what you wrote in the first one? Then we get the slow-mo battle, the flag thing, as she's telling her backstory after they just finished having sex. She's doing like the longest exposition
weirdest
scene.
pillow talk ever, because they just bang. She's lying on his chest. He's like, tell me about your war crimes. And he's like petting her head. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah.
What happened?
I had this other love, and I'm like, why are you talking about this other love when she's done sex? Anyways, then more context to her actions in the past. Her life was under threat. At least she thought, because a motherfucker lied to her. And he promises, you will take this princess's place. I will be in charge, and you'll take her place. So then they do
the epic band.
I love it. And I was like, you better keep this scene in here. And they did, intact. The fucking band is even playing when she points the gun.
Are you sure you guys can't see?
They can see, Joe. And yeah, she shoots everyone, and the band is still playing to her emotions. And they betrayed her, and she's about to betray them, but she can't bring herself to shoot him, even though later on the only way to honor her is to run. That was stupid. The way to honor her is to kill the people that just killed her father and mother and ruined her whole empire.
And forced her to kill the daughter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Who invites a string quartet to a political assassination? It's
missing one
Shut up, Alex.
instrument.
It's a paying gig.
What's the instrument that they missed? It's the biggest of all the instruments.
Well, some
Alex,
of them,
do you know?
Some of them,
it's not. No. There's a cello, but I think there's another one.
Well, sometimes they don't have the bass. Sometimes it's a double violin, viola, and a cello.
That's what the structure that it was.
But it's a paying gig. Look, $5.
No, I'm just saying her dad figure who knew that he was going to kill everyone. He paid them to show up. He's like, can you show up? Oh wait, you can't see this. We'll put hoods on them.
No. Do it. Kill her. Kill her. No. And then they just let her. I thought there was going to be more context to her flying off. They just let her fly off.
She flies off, and another ship just comes in.
Passes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
They added a CGI
Bye,
ship.
Cora.
But later in the movie, they add that they could just tractor beam these ships back. And but okay.
Which one?
So when she flies in with the smoke grenade, she's like, I can't control them. They're like, no problem, we got a tractor beam. We'll just tractor you back.
Wait, what? It's like, you have a tractor beam?
And it's like, how did...
grain harvesting scene, the longest scene, it's just, it goes on. I think it's combined 30 minutes because it is broken up by an eating scene where one of the guys is drinking alcohol. Titus is drinking alcohol, and that's why when they make such a big deal about getting water, and it's because he's switching from alcohol to water. But it just goes on and on and on.
Then they get another stupid break where Nemesis is over there with her sticks in slow-mo.
Yeah, this is an added slow-mo. Bitch, get your ass a harvesting, Joe said. It's like, what are you doing
here?
Boom, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
with just two sticks. Everyone's just watching her.
Yeah.
They're watching her because they're like, bitch, you should be working right now.
That's what's added. Like 5 more minutes. It's like,
and then it goes to more wheat harvesting, and then they're all in the town hall, and we get Titus's, then Nemesis's. These are their backstories. And Nemesis, by the way, she awakened her ancestors who showed her how to fight. Not very well, apparently, since she loses to 3 swordsmen later on. Anyways, and then Tarzan's backstory, and then Titus asks Cora hers as he's crying.
You skipped the character you forgot that you don't know the name of.
Oh shit, that's right. What's that?
Haram,
Well, we don't know.
Whatever the fuck. Jenna.
Wait. No,
No,
that's the
that's not
spider
her.
lady. That's the spider lady.
What the fuck is her name?
Furiosa, Joe. More grain harvesting the movie.
That's her. That's her right there.
Which one?
Milius.
Oh, yeah. see, I don't
Finally, we
fucking know.
learned her name. And then you were good during the harvest, somebody says to
Milius.
and she goes, yes, I was from a planet similar to this, because in her flashback, there was even more wheat and grain, and I was like, God damn it. And that's it. No, that's literally
That's
it.
it.
That was like an added 3-second scene, please. There's a reason why the editors have to cut things out.
It has nothing, and it's wasting everyone's fucking time.
And it's all put back in.
One thing I did appreciate though is our boy Tarzan gets some. He likes things
it's like, what the fuck?
mature.
There's a new added scene.
Yeah.
Tarzan is dancing with the oldest lady there, the white-haired lady.
Yeah.
And Joe will appreciate this, because then they wake up the next morning, her titties are hanging out, and
He
she got
got him
some
some.
big-ass titties, but they're a little, there's a little sagging. And
Gravity
she's
comes
older.
for us all, my friend.
But she smiles, and he is into it.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So he's
a wrinkle wrangler.
There you go. Wrinkle Wrangler.
Yeah.
And I made
Prince
you these
wants what the
macaroni
prince wants.
pictures.
Yes.
Don't forget that. I made you these macaroni
Oh, my
pictures.
God, yeah.
Joe goes, bitch, you should have been harvesting. And I was like,
Does no one understand how bad we have to harvest? They're fucking coming. We got people playing with fucking
sit there.
chopsticks over there in the middle of the field.
motherfucking somebody
You're
making macaroni pictures.
pics. Everyone needs to be fucking harvesting.
Right.
Where's the macaroni picture I made you?
I don't know.
A fridge somewhere, maybe on the top.
Hunters spy on the kissing. And then Ari
yes.
and Sam go to the top of the roof, and he's like, but then they're being spied on by the hunters, who call it disgusting. And it opens a plot hole, because it's like, why did the robot leave them alive for so long? I don't know. And then so Cora asks Eris how he fixed the ship, and it was Jimmy. So Jimmy had fixed the ship. Jimmy had also previously given them rabbits one day,
Yeah,
and
he's
took
sneaking
their
around.
took their cave.
I killed you, these small animals. It's like,
And he
oh,
runs
thanks,
off.
thanks, Jimmy.
How does he get his antlers, guys? The question is finally
He
answered.
found him on the ground. There's
He
a-
fucking found him on the ground. He doesn't get. There's no majestic deer that touches him and chooses him. He doesn't hunt it. He finds a dead fucking
I don't
carcass
understand
skull.
why all his parts were cut. They were like literally
3 seconds long each.
all of them would probably be like 3 minutes combined.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they had to show the threshing. It was super important. For
Yeah,
them to-
let me show you something added to the waterfall robot talk scene. He says, let me show you something. When he walks, she's like, join us. And then he kind of gives it consideration. Then he walks off and he says, you're going to die. You can't possibly win. But that's not what he actually said. He said, follow me. I want to show you something. And so then it shows he finally kills the fucking hunters after they were trying to report a message. They, sir, they have a... And then he kills them all.
Which they didn't, though, right? Did they?
They had a special...
No, they had this.
I don't know what they were going to report. I think the ship.
ship.
Yeah,
It
the
was a
ship.
ship.
Because we
But
do
they
get an
didn't
added
tell 'em,
ship
though,
of a
right?
test flight. So we see a test flight. It lands, and they're like, hey, we have a ship. And then that's when they try to report it. Anyways, that's it. And then we get the huge battle, which is much the same, only more blood, more body explosions, which is better, sure. And then
Not
we get the
worth
cool scene where when she goes to the ship and she plants bombs on the goddess's head, she wakes up, like her skin falls off. It was a statue outer shell, and then it turns into an even worse CGI effect. And then the voice and dialogue is awkward. It's like, I didn't like it. It needed to speak in a different way and have better lines. But essentially what she says is, it's okay to kill me. And this is a reoccurring theme throughout both parts. It's okay, I forgive you, kill me. The princess was like, I forgive you. The fucking father at the beginning, I forgive you, kill me. And
You think
so she's
Jack's
like,
telling us something? It's
I
like, it's
forgive
okay. I
you,
forgive
kill
you.
me.
Cancel my movies. Cause
so she says, I forgive you because you will free my sisters. That will be my vengeance. So apparently all the ships have enslaved interdimensional beings, and in part 3, if they ever get to it, she will create a revolution, and she'll have robots and sentient goddess beings,
And Jimmys.
interdimensionals. That's the robots, Jimmy's, and then she'll
Indestructible.
win and fight for the princess. And the princess will take back over the castle and the kingdom and dispose the Scottish guy who has some of the worst line deliveries ever, especially when the king was getting stabbed. He's
Come
like,
on.
do it! Do it!
Do it. Kill her. Kill her! No!
Come on.
I
Kill it.
Kill it. Do
Kill
it.
her. It's like, the fuck are you saying?
Worse.
Yeah, it's bad.
And then that's it. And then the final climax, same fucking shit. Nothing really added here. The
No.
stupid dumbass could have shot them a long
Oh, I
time
thought you were talking
ago.
about
He
when
gets
she's jumping
shot.
off.
She does her stupid jump earlier, and it's all garbage, and I'm tired of talking about it. So that's it. That's all they added, context, and now we can finally be done with this shit until Netflix decides they want to burn another $200 million or $180 million. I don't know how much it costs to make each one of these, and we get a part 3.
I really hope not. It's fucking terrible. All these characters suck. It's so fucking.
166 million, and it was 2-part. Bro, what? That's hilarious. Both of them cost a combined 266, which is less than Acolyte. Yeah, part 1 was 90 million, and then the rest of the budget went up to 166. Holy fuck! Wow,
They're about the same length.
about this wild. Anyways, guys,
Shit. Don't watch it.
don't watch it.
Watch us.
Watch
Yeah,
us
that's it.
instead. And I kind of do, like a masochist, I kind of do want a part 3 to get
Come
the hell
on, do
there.
it.
Do it. Kill her. Kill her! No!
Do it.
Do it. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for, child? Do it!
I want to know that though. Please, I want to see that guy get killed when, like, he's about to do it. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. We'll see you. Anything else?
What's
that
the
you wanna
lady's
add?
name?
I got it. It's Malitis.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Melatonin. Because this shit puts me to sleep.
Love it. Love it.
See you guys on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.